I think there is a very serious argument to be made that the Lakers are one move away from being a legitimate championship contender. I know that the NBA is as loaded as it has ever been, but in all honesty, this Lakers team, since about the beginning of December, has been a really good team. They are winning games they should win, and they're starting to win some games you wouldn't really expect them to either. A 21-point, honestly, shellacking of the Celtics. This was never a competitive game. It was like a 19-point game at half. The Lakers dominated this game. It was not a competitive game, and in all honesty, look, the Celtics have struggled as of late. I've talked about it on this channel, but they had everybody healthy tonight and just basically ran off the floor. Nobody on the Celtics played well except for KP, at least offensively, and KP wasn't great defensively. Like, just as a whole, this was a game where the Lakers just absolutely looked like the better team. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yeah, the second Celtics, I believe, are on a second night of a back-to-back. I think they played last night against the Clippers. Was that last night or the night before? I think it was last night. Either way, still kind of a little bit of a surprising loss and a little bit of an embarrassing loss for a team that's been struggling recently, and an impressive win for the Lakers. I mean, really well-rounded game. AD goes 9 of 18, 24 points. LeBron has 20, 14, and 6 on, 20 shots isn't great. 20 points, 20 shots isn't ideal, but Austin Reeves, 13 shots for 23 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. Dalton Connect throws in 13 off the bench. Gabe Vincent was pretty good again, made 4 threes plus 22. He's 12 points. Just overall, I really like a lot that this team has been able to do as of late. I think the rotation is better than it was to start the year. I think the Dorian Finney-Smith trade was great, and I really think they're one move away from being a serious championship contender, and I want to expand on that more in this video. So another great win for the Lakers. The record has not updated as of yet, but they are now 24-18, which will put them only 3 games back of the 4 seed. Now, that is, to be fair, probably not going to happen. I don't see them as a top 4 seed unless things do change, but they're the 5 seed. Now, not the 5 seed by a ton. They're a game and a half up on the Mavs, half a game up on the Clippers. Like, this is not a safe, comfortable spot to be by any means. They're going to be 2.5 games back, or 3 games up on the freaking 11 seed. Like, at the end of the day, the West is so tightly compacted, and there are so many good teams in the West that you never really are safe at this point in the season. But the way they've played as of late has been really impressive. They've really turned things around after a rough start to the season. They've now won 4 of their last 5 as well, which is something that I think they deserve credit for. And look, when you look at the advanced numbers to start the season through December 8th, they were 12-11. And more importantly, at that time, they had a 26th in the league, 5th worst in basketball offensive rating. Defensive rating. Offensive rating was decent at 13th in basketball, but overall, with a bottom 5 defense, that put their net rating as a bottom 7 net rating in all of basketball. Despite being 12-11, they had a lot of blowout losses and a lot of very close wins, and really not a lot to look at and go, yeah, this team looks like a serious competitor. Since then, it's not perfect. Offensively, it could use some work, but defensively, it's so much better. Top 10 in basketball at a 111.5 net rate, or defensive rating. The offensive rating has actually slipped a little bit down all the way to 17th, but they do have a positive net rating since then at 0.8. Again, it's not crazy, but these numbers, by the way, do not take into account tonight's game, which should boost the offensive rating a little bit and boost that net rating as well. But look, they've been not elite, but they have the pieces to be elite. I really liked the Dorian Finney-Smith trade. He is working out so far. He's a low volume scorer by all accounts, but if he can give you 7-8 points a game, and even more importantly than how much he scores, it's the efficiency. He's shooting 42% from 3 again so far on 4 attempts a game. That's what you need. A guy who's going to catch and shoot in the corner at a high level, knock down shots. That's what Dorian Finney-Smith has always provided. And a guy who is going to defend opponent ball handlers on a night-to-night basis. He's the type of guy who has the size and physical versatility to match up well against a Jason Tatum or a Jaylen Brown, like we saw tonight, and a lot of these other big physical guards. Like, for example, if they were to play Phoenix in the first or second round, I think he matches up really well against a Kevin Durant. If they were to match up against, let's say, Houston in the first round, Dorian Finney-Smith is the type of guy that has the switchability and versatility to go on any but of the ball handlers on that team. And I think, yes, losing D'Angelo Russell removes some of the ball handling ability from this team. I truly believe playing through Anthony Davis in the post, letting Braun be a ball handler as he's always been. He's shooting 40% from 3 this year as well, obviously having another unbelievable season for a 40-year-old. Like, the shooting as a whole recently has been really good. The fact that a lot of the role players have shot the ball this well has been really nice. But with Braun as a ball handler, Gabe Vincent dominant even, I think, as a ball handler to a certain extent. And then AD playing through him, and Austin Reeves, who's been amazing, third best player on the team and has had a really, really good year. Assist to turnover ratio is 6.1 to 2.5 as well. That's pretty darn impressive. I think they'll be fine in ball handling, honestly. And look, Anthony Davis comes out today on Twitter. Well, I guess the piece came out today, the sit down. I'm not entirely sure when it came out, but Shams did a sit down with Anthony Davis, and AD said a few things. Number one, they're talking about how it sounds like they're talking about among them, each other, about how they want to win one more title. They want to get one. And it seems like they have a target this year of trying to compete for a title that maybe wasn't totally there the last couple of years, despite them being a competitive team. And he says they're one or two pieces away. And then he goes on to say, I think we need another big. I feel like I've always been at my best when I've been at the 4 and having a big out there, which, to be fair, when they won the title in 2020 with JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard, that's what they had, was Anthony Davis at the 4. The perfect trade for the Lakers would be to get Walker Kessler and Colin Sexton or Jordan Clarkson, preferably Colin Sexton, I think, but I think Clarkson might be more affordable in terms of assets. If they could get those two guys from the Utah Jazz without giving up significant pieces of the rotation, and they do have the draft assets to potentially get both those guys, if they could find a way to get both of those guys, that would, number one, give them that elite level big man who's going to block shots, rim protect, and is going to anchor their defense to allow AD to be more of a roamer defensively, which improves their defense again even more. Like, they would all of a sudden become an elite defensive team with Walker Kessler and Anthony Davis in the starting lineup. Would it hurt the spacing and the scoring? A bit, but I think it actually would help AD to be a little more comfortable offensively at times, even though he's been as good as he has. And I do see a world in which, look, AD wouldn't play the 4 all the time, but having the ability to play him at the 4 wouldn't hurt at all. Keep him healthy, keep him fresh, and they would become amazing defensively. Another ball handler like Sexton or Clarkson off the bench gives them even more shot creation ability, which, again, I don't really feel like they're lacking, but after losing D'Angelo Russell, it could be something they could improve upon. But if Gabe Vincent keeps playing well like he has recently, that need goes away. He's really struggled to start the year, obviously, but lately he's been better. And if he can sustain that, maybe you don't need that backup ball handler. Either way, if I was the Lakers, Walker Kessler's the guy I'd be targeting. He even, by the way, Walker Kessler shows some potential flashes. I know this sounds crazy to say, but I have seen some flashes of a potential, like, slight floor spacer in there. He's not there yet, and I'm not sure he ever really will be, but he's shooting 50% from 3 this year. Yes, on very, very low attempts. He's 4 attempts total, but I think there is a possibility of him becoming an actual shooter, and he's so efficient around the rim. It would allow AD to be so much more comfortable, I think, offensively, and he's averaging a double-double with 2.5 blocks a game. Like, I'd be intrigued. That's all I'm going to say. I'd be really, really interested to see the Lakers if they could add Walker Kessler and maybe one more guard. And if they do that, there is a real path to them as serious championship contenders. Even in a loaded Western Conference, they're playing well enough right now to the 5 seed in the West, and I think they could absolutely hold on to a top 6 seed. I think they could push for a 4 seed potentially. If something were to happen to Houston or Memphis, we still got half the season pretty much left to play. I mean, we're just a little bit over halfway. So actually, the Lakers, that was their 42nd game. They're only 1 game past halfway. They got 40 more games to go. So a lot can change, and it's going to be fascinating to watch this Lakers team and see what they do with the assets they have, because they didn't have to give up much for Dorian Finney-Smith. They have the ability to make moves, and a team that wants to compete for a title. Maybe Ron and them got one more last run in them. We will have to wait and see. I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Be back with more NBA content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.